At the request of my friend, President Trump, with whom we changed the Middle East and brought about tremendous achievements, we agreed to a temporary ceasefire in Lebanon. But I say honestly, we have not yet finished the job.
Trump's 10-day truce has silenced the guns for now, but does it actually decide the fate of South Lebanon, or just delay the next big battle over its future? As Israel brands the ceasefire strictly temporary, is the IDF's vow not to pull back even an inch a signal that this pause in fighting is only tactical? When Israel's defense minister says the security zone will stay, and that homes could be flattened again later, is he quietly preparing the public for more destruction? As Trump's closest ally in the region boasts of monumental achievements but admits they've not yet finished the job, is he already hinting at more military action to come? With Hezbollah saying its fighters will keep a finger on the trigger, is this ceasefire really a step toward peace, or just a tense countdown to the first violation? As Lebanon's president hails the truce as a gateway, can he turn this fragile pause into a full IDF withdrawal and a lasting border agreement? When the ceasefire clock hits day 10, will Lebanon finally see a path to peace, or will the country be dragged into round 2 of a brutal war? Trump's 10-day truce has frozen the guns along the border, but the future of South Lebanon itself remains a central battle between Israeli demands and Lebanese fears. Just a day after Trump announced the 10-day Israel-Lebanon ceasefire, signals from Tel Aviv made clear that Israel does not see the war as truly over. Israeli officials have stressed that the 10-day truce with Hezbollah is strictly temporary, saying many of their war objectives are still unfinished. On April 15th, Defense Minister Israel Katz declared that the IDF will not withdraw from any of its current positions inside Lebanon during this ceasefire window. Katz added that Israeli forces will keep holding all cleared areas on the ground, treating the pause as a holding pattern while operations remain incomplete. According to Israel, the core goal of dismantling Hezbollah's weapons network still stands, even if active strikes are paused for the duration of the truce. Katz warned that civilians returning to the new security zone might face fresh evacuations later, if fighting resumes and the IDF decides it must finish the mission. The IDF has also signaled that, if diplomacy fails, future strikes could extend even further north of the Litani River, widening the battlefield well beyond current lines.
We are inside Lebanon in the midst of a war against Hezbollah with a freeze and a ceasefire for 10 days. The IDF holds and will continue to hold all the places it has cleared and occupied. The security zone has been cleared of terrorists and weapons and is empty of residents, and continue to be cleared of terrorist infrastructure, including the destruction of houses in Lebanese contact villages that have become full-fledged terrorist outposts. Alongside this, the security zone, from the security area up to the Litani line, which is currently under fire control by our forces, has not yet been cleared of terrorists and their weapons. This will have to be accomplished either through diplomatic means or by continuing the military operations of the IDF after the ceasefire. If the fire resumes, those residents who return to the security area will be required to evacuate to allow the completion of the mission. Also, the attack on Hezbollah's launch areas and power centers, beyond the Litani River and throughout Lebanon, which we started and planned to advance with great intensity, has now ceased before achieving its goals and will need to be renewed and carried out.
At the request of my friend, President Trump, with whom we changed the Middle East and brought about tremendous achievements, we agreed to a temporary ceasefire in Lebanon. At his request, we will give an opportunity to promote an integrated political and military solution with the Lebanese government. And I remind you, for the first time in 43 years, representatives of the State of Israel are speaking directly with representatives of Lebanon. The road to peace is still long, but we have begun it. People ask me, what have we accomplished in the north? And my answer is, we have brought about monumental achievements. There were 2 threats emanating from Lebanon, a near threat and a distant threat. The near threat, the infiltration of thousands of terrorists into our territory and anti-tank fire toward our communities. The distant threat, which Hassan Nasrallah had built over years, the firing of 150,000 missiles and rockets intended to destroy Israel's cities. We have removed both of these threats. For the first time, we created a deep security buffer zone along the entire northern border. Not just in Lebanon, along the entire Lebanese border up to Mount Hermon, through the Golan Heights, and down to the Yarmouk. They wanted to surround us with a ring of fire. We created a ring of security. This buffer zone completely removes the near threat of invasion and anti-tank fire. The IDF is stationed there, at the yellow line, to continue defending against the near threat. Regarding the distant threat, we have destroyed 90% of the missile and rocket stockpiles that Nasrallah built. We eliminated Nasrallah himself. We stunned them with the Pegas. We eliminated thousands of terrorists. The Hezbollah of today is a shadow of its former self compared to the boastful days of Nasrallah. But I say honestly, we have not yet finished the job. There are things we plan to do regarding the remaining rocket threat and the drone threat, which I will not detail here. However, we have an additional goal, and that is a dismantling of Hezbollah. Therefore, I tell you again in all honesty, this will not be achieved tomorrow. It requires sustained effort, patience, and endurance, and it requires wise navigation of the diplomatic field.
In a notable move, the IDF has deployed its new ROEM self-propelled howitzer in Lebanon for the first time, testing it in real ground combat conditions. The system has been used to hit Hezbollah rocket positions and anti-tank launch sites, with the army describing the resulting strikes as successful. Israeli commanders say the ROEM offers a higher rate of fire, longer range, and greater mobility than older artillery platforms, giving them faster, more flexible support on the front. Meanwhile, Hezbollah has vowed that its fighters will keep their finger on the trigger throughout the 10 days, signaling they are on full alert despite the ceasefire. The Iran-backed group says it remains wary of the enemy's treachery, warning that it is ready to respond immediately if it believes Israel violates the truce. This ceasefire follows weeks of intense fighting, triggered by Hezbollah's strikes that began on March 2nd and quickly escalated into heavy cross-border exchanges. Israel answered with waves of airstrikes and expanded ground operations in South Lebanon, pushing tanks and infantry deeper into border areas. On April 17th, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun backed direct talks with Israel, calling the ceasefire a key step forward that opens a slim but crucial diplomatic door. Aoun said Lebanon is now working to secure a full Israeli withdrawal, the return of detainees, and technical fixes along the border to prevent future flare ups. He stressed that direct negotiations are crucial, arguing this truce creates only a narrow window in which diplomacy must move quickly. Aoun pledged that Lebanese state forces will be deployed to the southern border zone once Israeli troops withdraw, in a bid to reassure wary communities and foreign partners. He insisted that after civilians return, only the official Lebanese state forces should operate in the south, hinting at pressure on militias to stay away from populated areas. Aoun warned that this current window for peace must not be squandered, saying a relapse into war would be catastrophic for a country already on its knees. After Katz underlined that the truce is only temporary, Trump publicly fired back, signaling rare tension between Washington and its closest ally. On April 17th, Trump used Truth Social to warn Israel against continuing strikes on Lebanon, making clear he expects the bombing to stop under the deal he brokered. Trump said, and I quote, "The USA will get all nuclear dust, created by our great B-2 bombers. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. This deal is in no way subject to Lebanon, either, but the USA will, separately, work with Lebanon, and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Enough is enough." Unquote. For now, Israel still holds its new security belt and Hezbollah remains armed across the hills, as the 10-day ceasefire clock quietly starts ticking down. With both sides warning of what they'll do if talks collapse, South Lebanon may once again find itself on the front line when this fragile truce runs out.